Hey, my name's Max. I work for a marketing company, and that's how I met Kerry, the girl that I'm about to tell you about. We both work for the same company, but at different branches. Kerry was an exciting, beautiful, funny, and confident girl. She was 22 years old at the time, I 25. We met at a get-together that the company organised, and we were definitely captivated by each other. I introduced myself. Kerry and I clicked straight away. She was single at the time. She told me that her ex had broken it off with her a few years earlier. I thought to myself, who would break up with a beautiful girl like her? Only a fool. It turned out that I was the fool. This was how my 4-year journey with Kerry began. Everything happened so fast. We flirted with each other a lot, and then we started dating. After 2 weeks, we moved in together. That's when the nightmare began. I noticed a few red flags here and there. If we had a disagreement, it might be about politics, football, or what I wear. She would pinch, punch, or slap me jokingly, and I thought nothing of it at the time. She hated when I met up with friends or family, but it became serious when I got my bonus for my hard work. I suggested that we go to celebrate. Her reply was she wasn't feeling too well. I'm the caring type, so I asked her if she wanted me to make her a cup of tea or get her anything. She shouted,
"Leave me alone."
Her reaction surprised me. She was overly moody for no reason. Later on that evening, she asked,
"How come you've got a bonus? I've never had one since I've been there."
I could tell that she wasn't happy for me at all. I tried cuddling her, I just wanted to comfort her. But what does she do? She gives me a slap across the face and a shove to the chest. I stood back in total shock. I didn't know what to do. This was the first time this had happened to me. I'm a non-violent person. Plus, it wasn't in my nature to hit a woman. I could only remember being in a fight once in my life, back in school, which I won, of course. Okay, maybe I didn't. That night I slept on the couch. The next morning, I woke up to her standing over me with a cup of tea, apologizing for what she had done. We hugged. For the next few weeks, everything was okay. It was as though it hadn't happened. For the first 5 months of our relationship, we'd done so much together. Multiple weekends to Spain, nights out for dinner and movies. We were even talking about starting a family and buying a house. Like I said, things were moving very fast, but history was about to repeat itself. I was awarded Employee of the Month by my manager, Mrs. Sweeney. I was given a voucher for a weekend for 2 at a 5-star hotel. I couldn't wait to get home and share this moment with the woman that I love and make plans for the weekend together. We met up and was travelling home on the bus. When I told her, she didn't seem too impressed. She sarcastically said,
"How comes you're winning everything? You must be sleeping with your boss."
I jokingly said, "Are you jealous?" She got angry and slapped me across the face in front of all the passengers and then grabbed the vouchers and ripped it to shreds. I felt so embarrassed. All the passengers were looking at me as if they were saying, "You need to do something about that, mate." I felt like a child who was naughty in public and got slapped for it. For the rest of the journey, we didn't utter a word or make eye contact. When I got home, I wasted no time and I packed my belongings. As I waited for my taxi to arrive, she began to apologize profusely. When she realized it wasn't working, she started crying, followed by screams. Then she violently attacked me with punches, kicks, and frantically throwing what she could get her hands on at me. I restrained her from behind, and she headbutted me and broke my nose in the process as I held her. She bit and scratched me multiple times. I wanted to fight back, but she knew I would never lay a hand on her. When I let her go, she started throwing things again. A frying pan hit me straight in the forehead. Before I did something I never ever wanted to do, I quickly grabbed what I could and I ran outside into the waiting taxi. I felt like an idiot, to be honest. I asked the driver to take me to a hotel nearby. Whilst I was at the hotel, I received so many missed calls and messages from her. I promised myself that I wouldn't answer. I'd had enough, but what do? Because of my caring nature, I answered. I was worried she'd do something stupid. So now, here's the sinister twist that she came up with. First she said how she had a lot on her mind and how she was sorry. I replied and said, "We're finished. I don't want to be with a woman that hits and disrespects me in front of people." I got even more concerned when she started making suicidal threats. She went a step further and threatened to call the police and tell them that I'd raped her multiple times that very night, something I absolutely didn't do. I said, "You broke my nose." She said,
"I'll tell the police that it was self-defense."
She told me if I'm not there within the hour, she'll be making that call. She had me by the balls. I had no choice but to go back to her. Like it or not, If I didn't, I could end up in jail for something I didn't do. I didn't know what to do. I was so ashamed to tell anyone. I had nowhere to go. I couldn't even go to the police. If I did, she would lie that I raped her and beat her up and she acted in self-defense. They wouldn't take me serious anyway. A big strong man like me got beaten up by a woman? I could contact the domestic violence helpline, but I felt too embarrassed and they wouldn't believe me anyway. There was a pub a few streets from us. I often sat there for hours to avoid going home to her. One evening after work, I went there having a few pints by myself, contemplating my next move. Suddenly an idea came to my mind. I had a school friend who was accused of murder, but the evidence against him was inconclusive. He owes me a favour, so I met up with him. I told him what was happening to me. He was laughing. I felt so ashamed. When I told him what I wanted to do, that wiped the smile off his face immediately. I gave him the spare keys to our apartment and the details of when we'll be out. That weekend, Kerry and I went to her best friend's wedding. Instead of tossing the bouquet, the bride handed it to Kerry. I was so annoyed. She saw the look that I gave the bride and she dug her nails into my arm and whispered in my ear,
"This isn't finished. Wait till we get home."
I didn't react because I knew her time was coming soon. Every second I spent with this girl drove me closer to the nut house, let alone getting married to her. I hoped my friend stuck to his word. When we got home that evening, she started with a bunch of explicit words, followed by punches and slaps. She tossed the wine bottle at me. She missed, and it smashed against the wall. Whilst she took her frustration out on me, I kept telling her I was going to leave her, and she said,
"If you leave, I'll tell the police you beat and raped me multiple times."
I said, "You know that's a lie." She said,
"Who do you think they'll believe?"
I was once sick with love for her. Now I'm left with regret for a lifetime. I managed to lock myself in the bathroom and use my mobile to call the police. When they arrived, they ordered me to open up the door. As soon as I opened the door, they knocked me to the ground and handcuffed me. I saw her crying, her clothes ripped, her underwear on the floor, and a lady officer consoling her. I wasn't surprised that she told them I'd assaulted her. I showed them all the cuts and bruises on my body, and she told them that it was self-defense. As I expected, they didn't believe me, so they locked me up. I called my lawyer. I'm in jail, she's home alone. So far, everything's working like clockwork. I spent 2 nights in jail before my trial. At the trial, she arrived with a big smile on her face. But when my lawyer presented the video recordings from the camera my friend installed in our house, the truth was finally revealed, which proved my innocence. She had to face the consequences and spent time behind bars. She wasn't smiling anymore. Who laughs last, laughs the best. Till this day, the thought of her makes my heart palpitate and makes my blood boil. Can you relate? 1 in 6 to 7 men and 1 in 4 women will be a victim of domestic abuse in their lifetime.